Okay, I want to do one on talk about fast out of the holster, slow in. There's a big misconception out there, I think, in trainers that go out there and train people. Now, the Marines used to do, and maybe some other people used to do it too, but I just knew some Marines that used to do. They're like 4-point drawing system when they're drawing a gun. It would be 1 would be grab the one. So if you did it by the numbers, draw your gun by numbers. 1, grab the gun. 2, pull the gun out. 3, point the gun forward, ready to shoot in case I need to shoot. 4 and 5. Now, there's different counting systems that does this, and you can go 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then when you went back to the holster, it would be 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, and I may have a little bit, hopefully some Marine don't come over here and get all irritated. Man, you taught our technique wrong, that's not the way. I'm just giving you the idea, that's how some people formulate how to draw your gun. It should be a step process. If you do it every time, it sets a routine. I'm all in for routine, I'm all in for muscle memory. When you do this all the time, instinctively, you'll see people today, if they've been shooting for a long time, they will still do this. Return like that. And they do it every time they draw. If you go to range, you'll see somebody. They draw and they holster the same way. Now, here's my problem with that. And it's not really a problem. I don't care if you do that, because by doing that, you get a good instinctive draw to where you do the same thing every time. I'm okay with that. By getting the gun in action early, I can shoot all the way. Okay? Now people, you say, by doing this in reverse, if you get a threat and you're here, you could still engage. That's my big problem. If I perceive there might be a threat, I shouldn't be putting my damn gun in the holster. My gun needs to be at a high ready or low ready. My gun needs to be right here if I think there's a possibility of threat. I should not be holstering my gun until there is no threat. And when I holster my gun, it's slow. A lot of people used to teach, and Highway Patrol, California Highway Patrol, they're great at poor training tech. All your larger agencies really good at bad training. And you would think, well, Rick is, and I'm an FBI certified instructor, so I've worked with the FBI, I've worked with the CHP, I've trained CHP, I've trained a lot of different agencies. The bigger the agency, the bigger the head. And they think LAPD, oh my God. We hired a guy from LAPD to work at our agency. We're thinking, oh man, he's been on the streets for a few years in LA, probably got some good experience, he'll be a good asset to the team, blah, 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 blah. He couldn't do shit. He was the most lame duck cop I've ever seen in my life. Why? Because he never did anything. In LA, the cops kind of show up, and then they have special teams that do everything. If there's a burglary, they call in a burglar unit. They don't process the scene, they don't take prints, they don't do an area canvas, they don't do anything with the crime. So they train their cops to where when you're a dumb flat-foot cop on the road, your job is basically to show up, kind of secure the thing, and then call a special unit. If it's a rape, I'll call a rape unit. They don't interview rape victims. They don't take a case from the beginning. Small agencies, they don't have that manpower. We don't have 14 people to come out every time you got a burglary or this good, or a crime processing unit or this. Your larger cities have that, but your smaller agencies don't. So your smaller agencies, the cops tend to have to do everything. Now, as a DA investigator working at the DA's office, that's kind of irritating sometimes, because we get poor reports and we get inexperienced people that were newly hired that had to do everything, so they would miss a lot. Their reports wouldn't be clear. We would have to do a lot more follow-up to kind of clean up the case before we get in front of a judge. In law enforcement, and a lot of people, when you get arrested, it's a very small level of probable cause to arrest you. I don't have to believe that you did it 100%. I don't have to worry about if I can get a conviction. All I got to worry about is, do I have probable cause? And basically that's a reasonable belief that a crime's been committed and you committed it. Period. If I have those two elements, I can arrest you. So it's very low to arrest you. Now, when my report and your arrest goes to the DA's office, I bet you there's a 30-40% where they kick cases out of a DA's office. They don't file. So just because a cop arrests you and put 14 different crimes, the DA may only charge one of those because he thinks that's the only one I can get a conviction. So, I'm not sure how the hell I got on that topic. of cops drawing. But anyway, when you're drawing your gun, larger agencies have poor training practice because they get big heads and they think nobody can tell us we're the best. They live on their reputation. So when they start doing something wrong or inappropriate, nobody can tell them it's wrong because we're the FBI. We're the California Highway Patrol. We're the best. We're the Ohio State. I've worked with all these agencies I mentioned. We're the Ohio State Police. We're the most professional law enforcement agency on the planet. We're with the Secret Service. We guard the president. We know what we're doing. We're with the DEA. We do this. I've worked with all these agencies, and I'm telling you, it's all about the individual. Either the person learns and he's good and he's got some experience, or he just has a title and he got hired by this agency and he happens to be working there. Just do not equate knowledge and ability with certificates or the label on the badge or where somebody works. There's no correlation. So, big agencies, poor training practices. This is my opinion. Big agencies, poor training practices because they don't listen. They think they got it down. The flip side to big agencies, their training is normally modified from real life incidents. They have more major incidents to learn from, to make mistakes. So a lot of times their training is better than a smaller agency because they're training on good experience. So there's a pro and a con to large and small agencies. Again, the con is that you can't tell them everything and think they know. So, and like I said, I've told you before, the FBI, they used to be the worst shooters. When those 4 FBI agents got killed, they finally got into tactics. Before then, they were the FBI and they didn't need to train. People should just listen to them. After 4 FBI agents got killed, I think it was down in Miami, suddenly they needed better training. So, in training, I'm giving you my opinion now, doing this backwards so you can get another round off in case you decide you should not be holstering your gun unless the threat is cleared. Unless everything is done, you should not be holstering your gun. When this gun comes out, I'm in a high-risk, life or death situation. I've got a possibility that I'm going to have to take someone's life, and this is a pre-planning phase. I just did a tape on the white zone. I am in my red zone ready to enact one of my plans, and my plan is to live and survive and to stop the threat or somebody coming in on me. So when I'm enacting my plan, I don't want my gun in a holster talking about, don't make me pull my gun. Don't make me get my gun out, I'll shoot you. You better not come any closer, I'm going to get my gun out. That's all. Lag time is threat. You're losing credibility. If you're confronting somebody, they're going to know your credibility. I'm not going to tell you I'm going to pull my gun out. You're going to know I pull my gun out when I come up on you, and then you're going to know I mean business. We're not going to have to talk. This is universal language for don't come any closer. I don't have to know if you speak French, Australian, Chinese, whatever. I don't care where you're from, where you're throwing shrimp on a barbie, or if you're cooking a dog. I don't care. When I come up like this, universal. Everybody knows what that means. So, I don't want to be talking. This guy may be deaf. He may not understand English. I don't care. When he sees this, he's going to know what I mean. So, when you come out of your holster, there's a theory that I taught, and I thought it's a good theory other people teach. Fast out, slow in. Anytime you take your gun out of the holster, it needs to come out like you're meaning business. I'm ready to go to action. You train and you cause muscle memory as you train. Now, on shooting competition, etc., a lot of times they do not stop the time until your holster's in here. And I used to shoot, when I was on the Air Force shooting team, we would shoot, and part of the time was they did not stop till your gun back in the holster. What did that teach us? Come out, bang, 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 bang. Get it in fast. Get it in fast. Well, that's not good for survival and tactics. It's good for the competition, it's good for your time, but it's not good if you're in a life situation, because once I come out and I shoot, I need to calm down. I'm in my fight or flight. My heart's rate up. I need to evaluate for other targets. I need to do a thing that's called scanning. We always teach scanning before you go in your holster. It tends to break your focus so you don't get that tunnel vision. If I come up on you and I'm locked in, I'm shooting, I may not see. I lose my peripheral. Remember, you get tunnel vision. So I lose my peripheral vision. I may not see another suspect over here. So we were taught after you shoot at the range, bang, bang, we always scan for other targets. That gets me off my focus and it gets my peripheral vision to come back so I can scan for other targets. If you train like that at the range, in an actual shooting it would happen. I'm all about training for actual, not training for looks. time, competition, winning, etc. I don't like any of that show stuff. I think it just hurts the goal of everything. It's a good way to compete. It's fine to practice. It's fine to get out there with other people that have the same interests. But unless the competition is evolved around survival, it's not good training practice. It's going to teach you bad habits. It's going to get you to do things that you shouldn't do. Like bang and get my gun in the holster. That was a bad training technique. Now that was back in the 70s and 80s, so obviously we've come a long way since then, but still, today, if you go to shooting competitions, start with your hands up, you hear beep, bang, 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 and then they stop the time. Now, depending on where they're at, is whether they'll stop the time when the holster hits, when you drop your gun, when you drop the magazine, on your last round. All those things can be up to who's doing the competition. But the thing about this video is fast in, or fast out, slow in. Always when you draw your gun, you draw slow. The worst thing you can do is you go to a range, ready on the firing line, ready on the left, ready on the right. You get all this military formal crap on your firing ranges, and you train people for non-tactical shooting. Now some range master out there who does this shit is going to say, well, we got 15 people with a gun and we got to keep them safe, and if we don't have control and blah, blah, blah. Man, some of these range guys are out of control. That's why I don't like going to public ranges. They treat everybody like they're a freaking idiot. They have all these stinking rules, and they got these old timers up there that ain't got nothing else better to do than find something wrong with a rule. Kind of like going to a barn. You got these people with barns and horses, same way. All they want to do is make rules so they can enforce them and find people that don't follow them. Look, when you got every ready on the firing line, draw your gun, ready on the fire, ready on the left, point at your target, ready on the left, ready on the fire, ready on the firing line, fire. Oh my God, give me a break, dude. Get out of my way and let me train. So, that's why I don't like going to public ranges. When you train for yourself, it is fast out always. Don't be getting in the habit of drawing your gun like this. When you see me draw my gun, 90% of the time, it comes out like I mean it. And when it goes in, I don't really care. I'm not in a hurry. It's not in a hurry to get it in there. I don't need to worry about it. Actually, when it's going in, there's a chance of a misfire. I should be a little bit slower, a little bit more deliberate. Make sure I'm not scanning my hand. Make sure I'm not lasering my hand, looking where it's going down. I don't like looking at your holster when you put your gun away. Because in a cop world, when you're out there on an incident, things can go bad quick, a family member can come up, etc. I may think everything's over, I may have scanned, I may have done everything right, and then I start looking at my holster when the guy's brother shows up and sees that I just shot him, and now I get blindsided because I'm looking at my holster. But that's in that situation. If I'm out here and the cops are showing up and I'm the good guy and the cops are here and the scene's secure and I know that they want me to lay my gun down or something, well then I'm going to do it slowly. I'm going to put my gun away. I'm going to lay my gun down, do what I need to do. Remember, drawing your gun, always fast, always like you mean it. That's going to develop that muscle memory. I'm not going to have to think 1, 2, 3, 4. Now if I do that every time, that's kind of called a kata. We use katas when we're using a baton for certain strikes to get people to remember what order, and so they practice each strike. This is like a kata for a gun. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that trains in a good way in some way, but again, slow in the holster, forget putting your gun away. Putting your gun away should not be in a high risk. You shouldn't be looking for targets while you're putting your gun away. When you put your gun away, you need to have a good probability that everything's safe. When that gun comes out, it always comes out fast, aggressive, toward your threat, and like you mean it. It should never come out okay, I'm ready. That's a surefire way to get your butt killed or shot or lose a critical incident. All right, hope that helps. We'll end that there. Buddy Miss T, you're good boys.